Well, good morning, my beautiful coffee beans. I'm Bullhorn Betty. We have been covering the case of Miss Nancy Guthrie, but today we have some other information. Savannah Guthrie, her daughter, well-known co-host of Today's Show, absent for 2 days. Is it a covert operation to find out more information on her mother? Or is she truly on The Voice? I don't know. Let's chat.
Bullhorn Betty rocks.
So come on in. We got a lot to go over on the Nancy Guthrie case, and we're on the hunt to find out what Savannah's doing.
Coffee steaming, files on the table. We clocking early, hunt what's unstable. Bullhorn Betty on the curb, voice raised. Flip-flop queen with the homemade phrase. Notebook thick, got the screenshots flag. Names in red ink, every rumor, every tag. Late night live stream, screen glow on her face. Truth in her throat, got a lawman's pace. She don't blink when the threats roll through. Come see me, she says, if you think that's cute. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. We hunt bad guys till the sun comes up. From the front porch steps to the courthouse rug. We fighting for the ones that they gave up. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. Sip that truth from a styrofoam cup. From the quiet streets to the madhouse buzz. We ain't letting go till we get that justice. Insane Asylum, that's our crew nickname. Laugh so loud while we track these names. Whiteboard wild with the webs we spin. Pen to pen, see the pattern sink in. Turmo shaking when the case goes cold. We stir it back up, won't do what we're told. Doorstep question, side eye stare. Where were you that night? We hanging right there. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. We hunt bad guys till the sun comes up. From the front porch steps to the courthouse rug. We fighting for the ones that they gave up. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. Sip that truth from a styrofoam cup. From the quiet streets to the madhouse buzz. We ain't letting go till we get that justice. This for the faces on the milk cart labels. This for the families praying at tables. This for the names that the news won't say. We say them out loud every single day. Every day. If you're running in the dark, better feel that fear. Betty got a bullhorn right in your ear. Coffee club crazy, but we think so clear. One small town, whole world gonna hear. Hey! Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. We hunt bad guys till the sun comes up. From the front porch steps to the courthouse rug. We fighting for the ones that the day gave up. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. Sip that truth from a styrofoam cup. From the quiet streets to the madhouse buzz. We ain't letting go till we take red
Da 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 da. Good morning, my coffee beans. It's too damn early. I'm feeling better. I got a patch still on my neck. I got to tell you, yesterday, if anybody's asking, does the Salon Pause patches work? I've never bought them before, but with this, Horsey Love decided to try to make me as comfortable as possible. So she sent me a bunch of patches for my back, for my neck. And so yesterday I was on here, when we got off, and I had the patch on my neck and stuff like that. Well, over time, I don't know if it was just itchy because it, sticks to my skin or whatever. I don't even think it was that. I just think nothing was feeling there. And so I was feeling itchy because nothing was there. Well, I ended up taking the patch off. I'm like, maybe it's irritating me. And so I took the patch off. The skin was numb. I went to scratch out there. I'm like, I don't even feel my fingertips on my skin at this point. So if you guys are wondering, does Salon Paws actually work? I am not being paid to give this this review, this very, very public review, but they work. Surprisingly, the Salon Paws work. At least the Asper cream with lidocaine in it for my back worked. But the reason why I'm noticing the Salon Paws, because it's right here on my neck, and I went to scratch after I removed the patch. And these patches, can you guys see it? I got another patch on right here. I got another patch on. So I'm putting up a patch on. They work. They actually work. So are you going to take me up on that bathroom remodel? All you have to do is cook enchiladas and tamales for me. I think, isn't tamales the reason why Nancy Woodrum got murdered? I'm just saying. I'm saying open-minded. I'm just putting it out there. I believe we already got a creepy story with some tamales already involved in it. I'm just saying. I'm not sure if I wanna play this game, because it's like the Chainsaw Massacre, right? Where everybody leaves and they run from the house, but they run through to the barn that has all the chainsaws. I kind of feel like it's like that with you, open-minded. I'm just saying. Aussie, it's nice to see you. Who do we have here? We got Audrey. It's nice to see you, love bug. Melanie, good morning, love. I hope you're doing well. Phillips, Philip, it is nice to see you. Having a whole 2 pots of coffee. I'm working on my first pot right now. So it's nice to see you. Let them 66. Good morning. Jack M is up in the chat. It's nice to see you. I agree with you. This case has been strange from the very beginning. And I agree with what you're saying. He says it feels like nothing happened in this strange case about Nancy. Police was there in the house, then nothing. No searches, no clues or tips to the public, what to look for, etc. It's just so weird. It's so weird. Humphrey Bear, it's nice to see you, because somebody behind the scenes says, you got to be careful for social media, because social media will be here and they will, try to get, do this, do that. And it's hogwash. So they stop giving any information out because they're scared that they might say one boo thing and then next thing the whole world's going to freaking explode. So I don't know what their problem is, but I think it's something I'm noticing from law enforcement body to law enforcement body. And I'm finding out that they're really dragging these cases before they even come public with them, which is just insanity to me. I think that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard, but you know what? There are just some people that think their pee-pee is so big that they can just poo-poo all over everybody because of their big old pee-pee, okay? So, Eric, it's nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. Groovy Gal up in the chat. Summary, it's nice to see you. Peggy, good morning. Starla, it is nice to see ya. I hope you're doing well. Libby up in the chat. Good morning. True Crime Justice. Good morning. Cat Lady Grandma. Good morning. Good morning. Jacqueline. It is nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. Deb, good morning. Weather Junkie. I hope you are doing beautiful this morning. It is nice to see you guys. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Who else do we have? You know what? I was going back in the case. I actually went back and I was watching it this morning. I was watching Ashley Banfield, because in Nancy Guthrie's case, she was she kind of stepped in it over the cameras and Tommaso. She made such a bold allegation against the son-in-law, and it fell flat. It fell really flat. Two-Speed, it's nice to see you. D, it's nice to see you. Good morning. Good morning. If AT&T are in a hotel under police AT&T are in hotel under police protection, who has Nancy's house with the white Tesla? I think the white Tesla person, I think he is a property manager, probably required to go over there, several times a week, check on the house. We did property management for vacant homes before. Sometimes they're really tight, really, want people there coming by, every single day. Some are, but that gets costly, as you guys can imagine. And some people like kind of a scaled back version of that, maybe several times a week to collect the mail, to go in there, make sure nothing is going on, to secure the house, make sure nobody's messing with the house, things like that. So there's a lot of different things that person could be used for. I could imagine with their situation and the fact that this family has money, they are going to spend money to protect their assets and other, right? Because they don't know us, right? They don't even know the guys that are out there. They don't know who they are. They're hearing horrible things because mainstream media likes to lie, right? So they're going to be making sure that their assets and the home that they all grew up in is secure and being well taken care of and not being trespassed. You got to remember, even though that we, the community, would never go and trespass and do a looky-loo and try to encroach on the property to see what we can find, but let's face it, there's some dumbass out there that's probably plotting right now how to get into the home so they can look at the scene themselves, because we got a bunch of freaking knuckleheads on here. Not just knuckleheads, just dumb-ass people. Let's be honest, okay? Just because we're not doing it doesn't mean somebody's not thinking to do it. So they've got to protect that. And quite frankly, a lot of the stuff that I see going on out there, even the stuff that was being moved out of the house, I would have done the same stuff. I don't know where my mother is. She's got valuable things that belong to her that we want to make sure never leave, that stay with the family. We want to protect those. We need to get those up out of the house. Why? Because you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, somebody could literally break into that house tonight and rob it blind. Now, with all the new features, you'd hope that doesn't happen, but at the end of the day, it could, right? So you mitigate that by removing the valuable stuff out of the house and putting it in storage. So a lot of the things that the public finds, questionable, I find, something, because I work for law firms. I know exactly what kind of, not specifically what kind of advice that they would be getting, but I have an understanding what the attorney would advise. Any attorney would advise you to protect your mother's assets, period. You have a duty, whether your mother's here or not, to protect her, right? Especially if you are like the healthcare surrogate, if you are the director of the will, I'm not having my legal terms come to my brain. I used to work in this field of law, so for this not to come into my brain, it is what it is. But you have the executor. There we go. The executor of your estate and will and stuff like that. They may have to be mitigating. You're not dead. There's no proof that you're dead. We do not have a body. We do not have a confirmed homicide, right? I think that we should. I think at this point in the time, with her healthcare professionals, I think certainly we can come up with the fact that she most likely did not. And I think that it's confirmed she would never be able to survive this. And I think with her family and the doctor confirming she would never be able to survive this, I think at some point law enforcement's going to have to get on board with this being a no-body homicide. We have a homicide investigation here that's still dangling in a missing person category. It's dumb. It's dumb. I don't understand it. So it's nice to see you, Paula, Sandy. Actually, I don't even need these on right at the moment. I will when I start reading some stuff on the screen, but DeBossbish, it's nice to see you. Two Speed, it's nice to see you. I think I've said hi to everybody so far. Mama, Phil from across the pond, Beach Bum, good morning. It's nice to see you, Betty. Good morning, Danielle. Hello, loves. I hope you guys are doing well. Terry, good morning. I said hi to Aussie. May, it's nice to see you, love. Jason, it's nice to see you as well. Sandy, did I say hi to you? I may not. Judy, good morning. YouTuber, Sweet Caroline. Dun, dun, dun. I don't know. You're probably... If I annoy you with that, it's probably not going to change. I don't know why I do that every time I see your name, but I do. Sherry, it's nice to see you. Leanne, good morning. Arizona Raven, up in the house. It's good to see you, love. I hope you're doing well. Freeside, you're up awfully early this morning. Well, good morning, love. I hope you're doing well. Jade, it's nice to see you. Good morning. Mike, Big Mac Mike up in the house. Savannah can care less. I think we're all kind of on that. You know, when I saw this thing, I'm thinking, oh, something's going on. Oh, something's going on, you know. B. Betty, wait a minute. You're up awfully early this morning, too. What are you doing up? Good morning, love. I hope you're doing well. Good morning. Naomi, good morning. It's nice to see you. Pamela, Crystal Pistol, good morning. Hello, lovies. Hello. Wrights Game, it's good to see you. Thank you for the floating hearts. We love that. It's nice to see you, love. Hopefully you're doing well. Don't forget, guys, part of our Tina, it's nice to see you. Bigfoot, it's nice to see you as well. I hope you are doing well. Denise. Who else do we have? If I missed you guys, I am super, super sorry. Oh, Alicia, it's nice to see you. We were wondering where you were hiding. Well, now we know. Well, good morning, Carol. Good morning, guys. It's so great to see you. It's so great to see you. I have to agree, Big Mac. It's been a little frustrating. You know, it's hard because, you know, I get frustrated and I have a pop mouth. So sometimes I say things, like I did say some things that I think went overboard, you know, over the line of courteous in this industry, you know, especially towards Savannah, because I'm frustrated with Savannah too. But I didn't need to say what I said it the way I said it. It was wrong, period. It's just wrong. And if you're an adult, when you're wrong, you're wrong. You say you're wrong. You apologize, you move on. I was wrong about how I handled what I said. I called her, what did I call her? A pig or something like that. It was inappropriate. Period. It's inappropriate. And if you're an adult, you know, we all make mistakes sometimes, whether we intend at the moment, you know, it kind of just rolled out. You know, I wasn't expecting that specific to roll out, but it did nonetheless. And it was wrong of me to do that. She is she's suffering. I'm not saying that this is easy. I think the bottom line is we're all frustrated in the lack the family is doing. And I'm not saying that the family's not suffering. I'm not saying that the family is not hurting. I don't want to make that leap. I think that's inappropriate. And I don't think that I have any evidence to prove that they're not hurting. I believe they are. I mean, this is their mother. Okay. They had a great life. I mean, they had a life before Savannah was famous. She had a normal life with a lot of struggles in it, just like everybody else. It's so easy to say, you know, when you see people that make it to the top, like you act like they've never had a struggle in their life. They've had struggles. She lost her dad, you know, at a very young age. I can't imagine going through that at such a young age. It had to have been very impressionable and very hurtful and stuff like that. So she's had struggles. She's had pains. And then, you know, I think she got herself in a position where she thought no matter what happened, she would always be able to help her family, you know, no matter what. And I was thinking about this morning. This is the one thing she can't fix. This is the one thing that she just can't fix in her family. No matter how much she tries, this is not being fixable. So I'm still upset in the fact that, you know, I feel like the whole family has just given up on Nancy. I really do feel kind of that way. I feel like they're just ready to get on with their life, maybe because it's too painful to deal with, you know, however I just don't, it just doesn't feel comfortable to me or natural to me. So I think that that's where a lot of our criticism right now is coming from. When it comes to the family, it doesn't feel like the family really gives a crap. You know, we see her come on, you know, once in a while and drop a few tears and say, I'm thinking of my mom. And that's really all the major attention that her mom's getting, you know, from her and her family. And, you know, for people like us, we've seen families beg for the kind of attention that the Guthrie family is getting, literally beg just to have 5 minutes of national news for their missing child or missing loved one. And this lady here gets it and she doesn't want it. She doesn't respect it. She takes it for granted. And she's, you know, and I think that the whole entire world is watching the Guthrie family. I think people really feel, I think people's impression of Savannah in the real world is not as sweet as it once was. It's not as pristine as it once was. You know, everybody really doted upon Savannah, even, you know, with the back and forth between, like, she did a thing with Donald Trump and stuff like that, and nobody really, you know, had a powwow about it because it was Savannah. You know, she's a very sweet, docile, very just relatable person. And so a lot of people liked Savannah from all walks of life because she had that very sweet, ginger, down-to-earth personality. And then we see this go on in her family, and our hearts bleed. You know, this is very, very public, which most of the cases that I'm involved with are. And, you know, so we're accustomed to families having to swim in the sea of media and viral clips and some derogatory things that they may not like to see or read or watch or whatever the case may be. We all do it. You know, we've all pissed off a victim's family before in our commentary about their case. You know, it comes with the territory. But in this particular matter, it's like for somebody to be in the media and just want this to be as quiet as a mouse as possible is just insanity to me. We all know that, you know, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? I mean, that has been whipped into us since we were a little child, that the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Nothing good happens in silence. Yet we're being told they want silence. And not this family, just the community wants silence. The sheriff wants silence. You know, everybody just wants silence when there's somebody missing. I got to tell you, the Catalina foothills, I don't like them. If there's good people that live out there, you guys are few and far between from everything I can see. I would never get down with the people in the Catalina foothills. For the people that I've seen, now again, I'm just from Florida, and I know that there's a lot more people than the people that we've seen, but the people that I've seen, I'm telling you, I would not like. The people that I have seen, if it was their family member, they would be acting a lot different than they're acting when it's somebody else's family member. That I can tell you, and that's what I don't like. That's what I don't like. They have no idea what this family is going through. A woman was ripped out of her bed in the middle of the night, and they just want this to go away as quickly as possible. This is like the Sebastian Rogers case and the people in his community. That's why I can't stand the people in where he specifically lives, all those houses around there. They make me sick. How they acted, how they didn't want to be inconvenienced, how it was such a bother for them to have a missing child, not even caring that it's a missing child. Like, I can't stand people like that. There is something wrong with our culture when a child could actually go missing, and everybody just wants it to shut up and go away as quickly as possible. That right there is a community issue. That is a messed up mentality. Yet in this particular community, most of these people go to church. That's why I dog some of the things going on there, because every Sunday they get up and go to church, but by Monday they're being nasty and ugly. And so I don't, you know, and granted, to each their own, right? I'm not a perfect Christian. I don't ever profess to be a perfect Christian. I'm not a Bible thumper. I cuss God every now and again, you know, but I believe it's honesty. You know, you got to be honest. And at the end of the day, everybody wasn't being honest. They were just wanting to be quiet. And so we find out that that's, you know, the problem is we don't have to be. In America, we don't have to be quiet. We don't have to do our journalism the way our government wants us to do our journalism. We are free to do our journalism the way we choose to do our journalism. And we don't have to say or speak great. We don't have to, like, it's, for example, if somebody wants to show what a mask looks like, what the mask would look like on a suspect at night as a visual aid, they're not running up to people's homes, banging on the doors with the masks on it. They're in a private cove on the side of the road in public space talking to a camera. Okay, so in order for most of the people in that community to see that means they literally have to go into their computer, go on their phone, or physically sign in to watch that. And if you have to physically sign in to watch something that offends you, then that's not considered harassment, okay? You're choosing to log in to be offended, to be harassed. Therefore, that person's not harassing you. You're harassing yourself, right? You're harassing yourself. What you could do is just scroll on. And so that is the thing that we like to educate around this country, is that no, we do not have to move off public spaces. No, we do not have to put our camera away. No, if you're driving on a public road, yes, we do have every right. They even said something like, we're even talking about putting gates up. It doesn't matter how many gates you put up. If you are on public roadway, if the county paves for those roads and they maintain those roads, you can put a gate up all day long, and I can promise you, I will force a sheriff to open those gates. I've done it before. I will do it again. You cannot restrict access to public roadway. Okay? You can't. And if I want to protest inside that area, I'm allowed to. If I want to drive on public roads that are being maintained by the county, I will do that. There is no gate, there is no person manning a gate that's going to stop me from getting on public roadway. So, we pushed back before. I mean, we've got plenty of evidence of that in Tampa. We had a gated community. A guy decided to take a backpack and load it up with stuff to take to a rally and try to, kaboom people. And he was ultimately detained, and they found his backpack. He was, mentally unstable. Allegedly, which I doubt. I think that was an excuse to get him out of this, and they had a gated community, but they were public roads. That means they were maintained by our county. And if we're maintaining the roadways, you cannot stop us from going and using those. Now, everybody's like, well, you have a protest law. Well, let's be very clear. They can't stop us from protesting. They can't stop us from protesting on public space. They're stopping us from protesting in front of a specific house. So as long as we walk back and forth in front of that specific house and not just stop and scream at that specific house, that's all that matters here in the state of Florida. That's really all that matters. I mean, it is up for legal interpretation, and I would like to challenge it because I think the whole law itself is unconstitutional. At the end of the day, people need to understand the law, to understand how to read the law, to understand what you can and can't do when little things like this are enacted, because naturally they put my face on all the news commentary, because I will show up at somebody's house. I'll show up at a politician's house. I'll bring a freaking bullhorn. I'll bring one of those boxes, those microphone boxes that are even louder than my little bullhorn, and I'll get down. We'll get down right there in the street. And I'll tell you about your record. I'll tell you why we're not voting for you. I've never been bashful. You never had anybody accuse Betty of being bashful, but that's not the point. What in the world is Savannah Guthrie doing? What is she doing? So I'm looking into this. I'm trying to find out, hey, is Savannah Guthrie, because listen, this is what I'm looking for. When Savannah Guthrie goes absent, it seems like something happens in the case. Something big in the next day or two always happens. But she's been missing for 2 days so far. 2 solid days this week. And they're trying to convince the world that she's on assignment as a guest at The Voice. I just find it awfully interesting that she's now in Los Angeles and has been in Los Angeles. That's because Governor DeSantis signed that bill because he wears heels like Nikki Haley. Open-minded. I'm not a DeSantis fan. But I will tell you what, I've been a frickin' Byron Donalds fan from out the gate. Like, I've been screaming for him to become governor since 2021, but he's pissed me off. He's pissed me off a lot here in just the last 30 days. Well, actually a little longer than 30 days. First, I found out that he did an event with Pat Neal. Pat Neal's a developer here. Pat Neal is the Antichrist in Manatee County, okay? He is a garbage guy that has purchased our politicians, he's the $2 billion guy. Remember I told you I have a developer here in my community, like, you know, when we were talking about Savannah Guthrie, and I'm like, you know, there's a lot of people with a lot more money that would be more prime for a ransom abduction, you know? I was referring to Pat Neal. I'm going to be sued. Oh, well, Pat, come sue me, baby. Right? But anyways, he has a habit of buying our politicians, right? He bought our county board, you know, and they killed us. They've crammed as many houses as they can. It's unsafe for the roads. You guys just heard me talk about my ex-husband getting into a wreck here on these very roads. Could have lost his life. Can you imagine my county if my ex-husband lost his life on these roads when I've been bitching about these damn roads? I would come unfrickin' glued in those meetings. Absolutely unfrickin' glued. And so we've got this whole situation, but he's building. They're literally selling every square inch of our county to Pat Neal to develop. And meanwhile, he's building all these houses and we got no freaking roads to support him. So guess what? Our county is like California. It's like Los Angeles. You're in back-to-back freaking traffic all day, every day with no fucking relief because of this stupid freaking developer. And guess what? Byron Donalds just had an event where that very developer gave him $2.5 million, bought our fucking governor. And then our governor comes up here and Byron Donalds comes up here and says, oh, I don't have to debate. I'm not debating nobody. I'm not, you know what, I earned this. Okay, well, you just lost my vote. You just lost my vote. First of all, you take money from a freaking developer that has ruined my county, absolutely ruined my county. And I'm trying to justify it. I'm like, people need money to run for office, you know, blah, 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 blah. And then I hear his position on data centers. Then I start hearing his position about debating people. And you know what? Let me tell you something. I am here and I will stand on a hill, but you know what I will not do? I will not continue to allow this developer ran Florida to continue to wreak havoc in my life and the people that I call neighbors. We're the boss here in Florida. We have the ability to control this, and we keep going down the ticket, and we've got this massive Republican-led charge that's force-feeding all of this development down our throats. So you know what? I'm a Republican. I believe in capitalism, but I don't believe in selling my home to the highest bidder. I don't believe in having all these homes with no infrastructure. Who's going to have to pay for that freaking infrastructure? Us, the taxpayer. Yet this man just made $10 billion off of our land. You can get bit with that bullshit. And Byron Donalds, if he doesn't change his way, I will not be voting for Byron Donalds. 5 years I waited for this. 5 years I've campaigned for Byron Donalds to become governor. And then he spit in the face of all of his support. So I hope he changes, but he's not. Because the establishment here in Florida has now stated that they're going to run their people because they think everybody's going to down ballot the vote. So they're going to run the establishment people, and none of the establishment are going to even do any debates. As if they are entitled. Entitlement is what got us in this fucking position to begin with. I'm a conservative Republican, as conservative as possible, Stuart. I'm so conservative that half of the people that come here for these true crime cases, if they're like majorly liberal people, they can't even stand me because I support Donald J. Trump. Okay? So, I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm a front row Joe. There's... Like, I got the President Trump talking about our organization from the podium. Stuart, I'm very proud of what I've done. What have you ever done? Let me see if Biden or Obama's calling your name from the podium. I'm just saying. I do believe data centers are a bad thing. Opens the doors for social score and control the masses. People need to wake up. There's a lot of stuff. What was her name? Christine Randall, she did a show on this whole data center, and I got to tell, I posted it on my my post, and if you go over to the post side of my channel here on YouTube, you'll go down to the thing. But Christine Randall did a whole thing on it, and I passed it around on my post. I gotta be honest with you. I'm a little, personally, I'm a little terrified. I'm a little terrified what they're doing, because I don't trust our social media people, even though I am utilize their platforms for what I do for my business. I don't trust what they, because if they could, I don't trust them. And they're putting things in that we don't understand. We don't understand what the capabilities will be. We don't understand what they want to do in the future. Right now, it's just to host all this. We know that's bullshit. We know there's something bigger that they're doing, and we don't know why. Because, I mean, let's face it, we've got the infrastructure right now to do what we're doing with AI. Right? Everybody's using AI right now. Raise your hand. I'm using AI. You're using AI. We don't have to have a big data center in the backyard to run our AI for all of our searches and stuff. We don't need that right now. But they're saying, oh, well, we're going to need to store all of this stuff here. No, you don't. So what do you really need all this space for? What do you really need all this space for? That's the part that scares the shit out of me. They're doing something. They're building something that they are keeping from us. They are definitely building something that they are keeping from us. I don't know if it's robots. I don't know what it is, but I know I do not trust the people that have the money to do all this. I believe that they would develop something to take over the world. I think that they want world dominance. I think that it's, it sounds ludicrous to talk like that. I've got to be honest with you. It sounds ludicrous to talk like that. But something's going on here. And I don't know. I don't want to get into the conversation about the data centers just yet while we're in Savannah Guthrie. But on a segue, they're building bodies and putting... you know what? There's a lot of things that can be said. I'm just going to say, I don't trust the people that are building this. I don't trust what they're saying that they're using these for. I don't trust whatever's coming. I don't trust it. Whatever's coming is going to be painted that it's going to make our life so much easier when it's just to control us. They're trying to move toward them being able to understand exactly how we think. There's so much so that we don't have to vote no more. That they just are going to be able to determine our vote because they're going to know so much about us. That is scary. That is scary. Predictive purchasing, predictive thoughts, that predictive shit, that should never, ever, ever be allowed to come in the United States. That's like basically MK Ultra, is it not? I mean, when we start having a machine thinking for us, I mean, what... That is almost like a by proxy or reverse or whatever, but it's like an MK Ultra psyop. I'm not down like 4 flat tires on that bull crap. Okay, I'm just not. It's scary stuff to me. I think everybody needs to pump the brakes, sister. That's what I truly believe. I believe everybody should pump the brakes and have a meeting of the minds. But when you have somebody that has $2 billion net worth like Pat Neal that's going around the state of Florida and buying up our politicians, even our governor, it's making it very, very hard. I can no longer swim in the sea of the swamp. Okay, I'm here to clean up the swamp, and every time I find people to help me clean the swamp up, they end up joining the fucking swamp. Okay, that's what I have in Manatee County and my Board of County Commissioners. It's obviously what we're going to have if we have Byron in charge. He's going to sell the state of Florida, and of course Pat Neal needs to retire. That guy needs to be set out to the freaking pasture. He's done enough damage in the state of Florida. I want him out of this town. I really do. I want him out of Manatee County. I'm tired of Pat Neal. I'm tired of all the freaking developers that have robbed us blind, put us in this mess, and have sold all their homes, and now we're here and having to clean up the fucking mess. I'm tired of that. You know, this is going to take us millions. It's going to cost us about $40 or $50 million to clean up Pat Neal's stuff here in our county. We don't have that kind of money. And it's probably going to even be more than that. I'm on the gracious side. I bet you if I had to say right now, we have $250 million in deferred infrastructure in this county. I'm probably still underestimating. It's sickening. It's sickening. So if you guys are in the state of Florida, if Byron Donalds is so entitled to your vote and you give him that vote, I guess there really is no reason to have debates anymore. I guess we're just going to let a Florida GOP start deciding who our future is going to be. Okay, I'm not down like that. I don't trust our Florida GOP. You know why? Because they're politicians. And if you know anything about Bullhorn Betty, what do I hate? I hate politicians. I love statesmen. Hate politicians, love statesmen. I don't see any statesmen. Anyways, getting back to the case of Savannah Guthrie, Nancy Guthrie, and what is going on, we are learning that Savannah Guthrie has taken a jet out of New York. She is now in Los Angeles, and usually this triggers something, but I still believe something more is going on here because she hasn't been absent from work in a little while, and it seems like every time she has been absent, days later, there has been some type of major breaking news in the case. You know, nothing that has brought Nancy home or got us any closer to the suspect, but definitely something has reared its ugly head in the case. And so I kept wondering, is this going to be it? And so I dug and dug and dug. And it sounds like she is on The Voice. She went there to be a part of The Voice. But again, I still feel like that could be a cover. Amid her mom, whenever she needs to travel or she needs to sneak away or she needs to find something to do, they need to be a little more clever in how they do it so it doesn't bring so much attention. Just like us, every time she's not there on set, we all notice they have to make a statement. They have to explain to the world, where is Savannah Guthrie amid her mom's disappearance? Going for school pickup, just listening for now. Oh, well, thank you, Phil. We appreciate you. She was filming Wordle, is what they said. She was filming Wordle. Well, she obviously stopped by The Voice because she's all over The Voice. She's all over the stage and stuff like that. And I do see some consultants or people behind her. So I think she made a stop visit to The Voice as well as maybe a guest or something to that effect. And we're saying she's filming for Wordle, but are we sure? Because is Wordle really going to be filmed in Los Angeles? And if so, then that might even be something a little bit bigger, because I knew about the Wordle. We're kind of all scratching our head like, Savannah's going to go into games now? And it didn't make sense to us, right? Like, she's a Emmy-nominated or Emmy-winning journalist on the Today Show. She's going to go host a game show? Now, if the game... Oh, hey, Brown Chicken. It's nice to see you. If the game show's in California as opposed to New York, maybe she took the job so she could be closer to the investigation. Did anybody think about that? You know, she might have taken the job. Thank you, Yacht Clubbin'. We appreciate you. Very interesting. Is Wordle even around? I heard that was the first time I heard it. I don't know. I'm not a Wordle person, okay? I'm not a Wordle turtle. Not a Wordle turtle. So where is she? Why did she leave? And this would be interesting though, because is Wordle even around? Yeah, I do believe. Thank you, Rights. We appreciate you. But if it's going to be filming in Los Angeles, that probably explains why she took the job. She's throwing herself into everything now. Maybe. I don't think she's throwing herself into everything, because she's kind of been silent. You know, I don't know. I know families. I know families of missing people, and this family is not acting the same as the rest of our families. I've never met people that hide away, that are in the media and literally hide away from their own people in profession. Like, this lady is in hiding. She's got this. Let's keep moving on. because I'm going to end up putting that foot in my mouth, because I've got so much frustration on this family that it's hard. It's hard to cover this case without wanting to club the family a little bit, because it's like, what are you guys doing? Like, do you not see the need of needing to have missing person flyers? Like, what is going on right now isn't flipping working. Like, it's not working. So in the investigation into the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, the mother of NBC Today show host Savannah Guthrie is moving forward at this point, and it's been an active case for more than 4 months. Savannah returned to the Today show to host in April, and she's been steadily co-hosting the show without a beat, which again is problematic for a lot of people. However, by the middle of this week, Savannah was noticeably missing from the programs. Viewers were obviously worried about the TV host. With everything that she's been going through as the search for Nancy Guthrie continues, it's been amazing that she's been focused enough to return to her post at the Today Show and to help host the program. Whenever Savannah is missing from the Today Show, which isn't often, people think and hope that maybe it's a break in the case. Now, the reason for her absence from the show has been revealed. I don't believe in the Wordle thing, but whatever. Savannah Guthrie was missing from the Today Show on Wednesday, April 17th. Instead, her co-host Craig Melvin was there with news anchor Chanel, am I saying right? Chanel Jones? Her name's spelled a little differently. So why was Savannah missing? According to the statement as Hello Magazine, Savannah was away on an assignment. The show didn't share what kind of assignment or the nature of the segment that she's working on, but it makes sense because anchors are often flown on location for special shows that take place on location, so it appears to have nothing to do with her mother's investigation. However, she says she's going over to Los Angeles, right next to where her mother's investigation. Do I find that a little strange? I do. Hello points out Craig was actually missing from the show on Tuesday, June 16th, because he was on assignment. For that episode, Savannah hosted with Willie Geist. So it happens. Nancy Guthrie has been missing since February 1st, and officials have yet to name a suspect or suspects in the case. The Pima County Sheriff's Department, FBI, and officials have been researching the area around Nancy's home in the Catalina foothills of Tucson, Arizona for months. I disagree with that observation that they've been researching the area around, but definitely not searching the area around. Senior national correspondent Brian Enton of News Nation, who hosted a 1-hour special about the Nancy Guthrie case called News Nation Presents the Nancy Guthrie Missing Mystery in May, believes this case will eventually be solved. I think 100% that this will be solved, he told Men's Journal in an exclusive interview. There's an entire task force working around the clock. The entire task force, which we've reported just recently, has dwindled down even smaller. There's an entire task force working around the clock made up of FBI agents and detectives, and their full-time job is working this investigation. I think the right tip will come in, or DNA evidence will show something, but it takes time. And we know it takes time. You know, I go back to some of the other cases to figure out what's going on. So one thing we noticed is that Wordle is not the excuse for them sending her, even though NBC and Savannah Guthrie talked about taking on this new job. Again, if it is in California, well, then maybe she took it to be closer to the investigation. But we now know that she has been missing for more than 2 days. It appears that she was on assignment at The Voice. We can't confirm conclusively that that is the assignment. But again, I do believe, especially with some updates in the case and other things, that this might be a decoy of parts, you know, where she can go there for that, plus sneak out the back and go maybe into Arizona to get some information or meet with some people out there a little closer. She would have the resources once she's there to move freely to get those things answered and to work on those things. So were there other reasons of her going all the way to Los Angeles, so close to where her mother disappeared from? It's possible. It's possible. So we heard that Craig has an update on Savannah Guthrie. We've heard that. Now, Savannah takes brief break from today's show amid mom, and again we did hear why, but let's go ahead and hear this.
Her mother, 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie, was first reported missing from her Tucson home on February 1st. Investigators believe that she was abducted. The Pima County Sheriff's Department, the FBI, they've been leading this search, although no suspect has been named. Savannah and her family, they're offering a reward of up to $1 million for any information leading to Nancy's recovery. And we also know that the case has been subject to a lot of intense speculation, including unverified reports that came out last week claiming that Savannah Guthrie spent more than $500,000 on private investigators to continue the search for her mother. News Nation senior national correspondent Brian.
Listen, we reported that. Then we saw the guy in the white Tesla. It seemed like we had some corroborations to that report. And then we get from News Nation that it's inaccurate. I don't think this inaccurate reporting made the Guthrie family look good. I think in addition, the only thing we were hoping for that gave us some type of calming, like, you know, from the true crime community, was the fact that they were paying for the private investigator to run a joint investigation. Now we're finding out that that's not happening. So in my opinion, it makes the family even look worse. They're literally not doing anything to move the needle in this case. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. The people that know this lady and the people in her life more than anybody else, and we can all conclude that it's somebody that most likely came in contact with their mother that did this. It's just insanity for me to sit back here and see all these months go by. This case turned into a freaking circus, into a shit show. People, journalists being arrested for being on the side of the road, recording the house. For what? And meanwhile, the only complaint I had up to that point was, why aren't they supplying missing person flyers to be handed out in this community? No flyers, no help. They are so, I'm sorry, the Guthrie family is so freaking stuck up, it's not even funny. They don't even give a shit. I mean, I'm sure she cares about her mom and she cries for her mom, but she ain't doing shit to move the freaking needle. I've gotten, like, this has made me just look at this family in disgust. And I was on their side. But I'm kind of disgusted because, I mean, at bare minimum, we would expect something. Missing flyers, paid investigators, something. And there's nothing. Like, they're not doing anything. She's going back to work. She's getting on with her life. You know, they're packing up their mom's stuff. They've already acknowledged their mom's gone, you know, and she's just decided to do, decide and do, because that's what her mom taught her to do. But the difference is when her mom had to decide and do, her mom knew where her father was. Her mom knew exactly where her father was when she had to move on with her life, which is a lot different than the story we're dealing with here, which is a missing mom, grandmother, loved one that was ripped out of her bed by a masked gunman. God knows what happened to her. Like, if this happened to my mother, I don't know if I would even be able to freaking sleep. And it's so easy to criticize when you're not walking in that person's shoes. But every shoes that I have not walked into that have walked next to mine, other families, I can tell you one thing. They wanted their family, their loved one's name in the news every opportunity they got. They wanted to fight to find out answers. They wore shirts. They printed flyers. They went into the worst parts of neighborhoods to find out if that's where their loved one could or may be. We saw troopers. We saw, sweet moms and dads turn into cougar bears. You know, we've seen a lot over the years that we've done this, but one thing I have never dealt with, well, we have dealt with this once, and that was in Ethan Chapin's case, right? That the family lost their, you know, one of their triplets, and they just, I have never seen a family just say, they're like, well, we can't bring him back, so let's just move on with our life. Me and my mentality would never allow me to do that. You know, for the people that can, I guess maybe it's a good thing not to feel or think or be so easy to move on with your life, but that's not me. I can't do that. So I have experienced this once before where I don't understand it, and it quite frankly, it disgusted me then too. And it disgusts me now because, you know, there's very few people that just compartmentalize the love for their loved one. It's like, oh, well, they're gone. There's nothing we can do to bring it back. No point in getting upset. Let's just move on with our best life. They would want us to live well. You know, sorry, I'm trying to clean my phone. It fell on me. I'm trying to live this great life. You know, we can't be upset over this. It's, you know, let them rest in peace. That's the only thing that we can do. Let's just move on and get along. I just don't understand that mentality. And maybe a part of me is jealous a little bit. Like, I don't have that mentality where my heart can be like literally ripped out of my chest in some of the most heartless way. And I can just, you know, chalk it up and say, well, there's nothing I can do about it, but just, I'm going to have to move on. And then the next day I just go back to work and put it in the back burner and act like it doesn't exist. Like, I don't understand people that can do that. I mean, this was her mom. She gave birth to her. I don't know. I just expect, I mean, I don't know what my mom would expect from me if something like this happened to her, but I would definitely use my platform to advocate for my mom daily, you know? I don't know if I would, ever be able to just go back to work as if nothing happened. I mean, I'm talking about just for myself. I don't understand. I'm an adult, so it's not like that it's my mom. You know, would I be out there in the field? I would be out there in the field every day. I would be handing out flyers. I would be going any place that would put me on a screen and talk about my mom. You know, I would never just take law enforcement's word to sit down and shut up. You know, I will not comply. Like, this is my family. This is my mom. Nobody knows my mom better than me, you know? So I don't understand. I just don't understand. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to ever understand. I just don't understand.
Brian Enton is with me, has new exclusive information about those claims. Brian, you've been on this case from the beginning. What can you tell us about those claims?
Yeah, you know, you and I talked about it when you were in Vegas, Jesse, that I just felt there was something a little off with that report, that she spent the $500,000 on private investigators. I thought my source would have heard something about them if there were actually these private investigators snooping around. And it turns out I've now confirmed that is in fact not true. Savannah Guthrie did not hire private investigators. She did not spend $500,000 on private investigators.
I don't think that sounds good.
It seems, you know, she still has confidence in the FBI and the local detectives who are investigating.
So, I mean, it's not even worth her spending money. She has all this money, and her mom doesn't even rise to the level of even throwing money at investigators. Second opinion investigators. Like, with the type of money that Savannah has, she could get an elite team that is far superior than Pima County Sheriff, and she just won't. She just won't. I don't think this whole thing with the 500,000 makes them look. I think it makes them look even worse than they already look to the world.
But there are no private investigators, from what I'm being told, Jesse.
And I appreciate you clarifying that, because a lot of people could look at that and say, oh, you know, she doesn't have faith in local law enforcement. She doesn't have faith in the FBI. So that's important to clear up. Now, by the way, going to this interview, she was the most candid that we've seen her since the interview she did with Hoda What stood out to you about what she said?
Yeah, well, it kind of came out of nowhere. I don't think, I'm not even sure how planned it was, that we didn't know that she was going to suddenly today talk about the case. What stood out to me is how strong she is. I mean, the fact that
What stood out to me is the reason why she did it is she wanted to break everybody into her going back to work. She wanted to soften the blow so it wouldn't be so bad. She figured if she came out, did the whole, dog and pony show of how emotional this is and how she has to just get back to work so she can move on and stay strong and decide and do and decide and do and decide and do. That's why she did it. Let's stop the nonsense. I mean, I know Brian swims in this sea of media, but let's stop. The reason why she did the whole thing with Hoda is she was trying to soften the blow with everybody that she was actually going back to work in the midst of this insane case that she's involved in with her mom missing and being ripped out of her bed. Her mom was ripped out of bed in the middle of the night by a masked gunman, and the lady's never given one missing person flyer, hasn't hired one additional investigator, and has been sitting in New York at her job, doing her job as if life just goes on. It's just, to me, it's just sad. It's just sad. I just feel like her mom was worth more than what she's doing. That's all.
you watch her on the Today Show and you see her doing the news every morning and you forget what's going on behind the scenes.
Of course.
When she said that she cries on the way to work every day and that she cries on the way home from work every day, I just found that to be heartbreaking. And just a reminder, again, she puts on this strong face at work.
Listen, I don't know whether she cries every day or not. I just know that I don't know if I could put myself together and go do her job, 2 months after my mom disappeared or 4 months after my mom disappeared. I don't know. I think that's just too soon. I think we all felt like it was too soon. But we figured, okay, well, maybe she's going to use the platform to advocate for her mom. But it's dead silence on her platform. All she cares about is ratings and stories, ratings and stories, ratings and stories. Her mom comes second nature. That's what I think bothers a lot of people like me. I'm sure a lot of people feel bad, like Brian Enton, that his heart just bleeds for her. But for people like me, my heart does bleed for her. But it's starting to be hardened because her lack of remorse, her lack of urgency, what appears to be a lack of even caring that her mom's still missing, not using every available tool at her disposal to bring her mom home. Even the free stuff, okay? If she doesn't want to spend her hard-earned money on her mom, for F's sakes, fine, do the free stuff. Just promote her on your social media platforms if she's too expensive for you to even pay for flyers. It's frustrating, and I'm going to continue to express my frustration over Savannah's handling, and she's the most public person in this. Am I as frustrated with Annie and Tommaso and Cameron and his wife? Yes, I am, but she's the one in the spotlight, not them.
For her family, for her children. She mentioned for her mom would have wanted her to continue on working, but to just think of her crying every day.
Her mom would have wanted her to continue to working. Yeah, moms may say that, but I don't think my mom would really want me to just move on if she was missing. Okay.
On the way to and from work just reminds you just how gut-wrenching this is and how raw it is, and just that she doesn't know where her mom is. Imagine what that must feel like.
Yeah, usually people, Brian, when people feel like that, it prevents them from working. We know how it feels. We deal with a lot of parents of missing children and a lot of people of missing people here on this show. It's very hard for them. In the majority of the cases, it's so stinking hard for them that they pretty much lose everything in the process because. Now, granted, I don't want her to fall flat on her face but really, she has this huge platform of over 2 million people, which, by the way, her platform grew almost 1 million people since her mother disappeared. And she's never used it. She's used it very limitedly to advance her mother's case. Everything that she has done has been very limited in advancing her own mother's case. And what's going to end up happening is she's going to sit on her hands for literally ever. She's going to realize the case is going nowhere. And then she's going to want to jump into action and start doing all the stuff she should have been doing months ago. And then she's going to wonder why nothing is working now. It's because she waited too long. She didn't act quick enough. And then by the time she does decide that this case is going nowhere, she's going to be screwed because there's not going to be a damn thing she's going to be able to do about it at that late juncture. So whatever. I guess we'll see if I end up being proven right about that assessment, but I have a funny feeling it will be because that's what happens.
She has no answers as she's also trying to cope with the idea of what happened to
That's
her
why
mom.
she shouldn't be at
Strength.
work.
The idea of not only being strong for her family, she's got to put on a show every day. She has to have a happy face for the public. You know how difficult that is for anybody who doesn't not in this business. I mean, it is just.
I wouldn't do it. I am in this business. If my mom was missing, my entire platform would be searching for my blessed mother. If I had a missing family member, my entire platform would be utilized to find my missing person. Not that there's no other missing person in this world that matters. It's my mother. It's my family member. I'm going to do whatever I personally can do, whether law enforcement likes it or not, to be promoting my mother's case, to be making sure my mother is at every blessed channel, on every single phone, TV, network that can possibly be, that my mom is missing. Mama Bullhorn is missing. I wouldn't be, I wouldn't be carrying on a show about Nancy Guthrie when my own mother is missing. Okay? She's going on about life and all this other stuff while her mother's missing, never even squeaking her mother's name. My mother's name would be brought up in just about every single episode. Her people were told don't talk about it. There's rules on that show that we learned about the first few times she disappeared. The correspondents aren't even allowed to ask her how she's doing or how her mom's case is. They're not even allowed to mention the names Nancy Guthrie. Nobody's even allowed to mention her mother's name on set. Let's not get it twisted here.
It's remarkable, to say the least, that she puts that aside. By the way, we're now 128 days since Nancy disappeared. What's the status of the investigation?
Yeah, I wish I had something new to tell you, Jesse. I mean, from what I'm hearing, it's basically, not a cold case, I'm told, because there are still new tips coming in. They're still going through all the tips. But still no suspect.
Yeah.
No solid leads from what I've been told. I don't think.
No solid leads. No solid leads. We were just on here yesterday with Chris Niano saying they're close. They're close to finding who this person is. They're close to solving this case. That's what he told an independent journalist on Mother's Day weekend, that we're close. Now we're here well over almost a month and a half later, and we're finding no viable tip. No viable tip at all. So Savannah's missing. Savannah's been gone for days from the show. It appears she's in Los Angeles. It appears she was on The Voice. It appears she was just, having another assignment, right? It's hard. I'm trying not to be nasty to the Guthrie family. I think it might be a little too late because I'm just kind of frustrated with them. I'm frustrated with the lack of engagement, the lack of promotion, and just the lack of what appears to even resonate as caring about the fact that a lady was ripped out of her bed in the middle of it. It just seems like everybody has just come to terms with it and they're ready to move on. Meanwhile, a body is still somewhere that needs to be put to rest, and it seems like nobody from her family is doing anything to help advance that along. They're just sitting on their hands waiting for something to, it seems like the lazy cop, just sitting on their hands waiting for something to just drop in my lap. I don't know, Betty. The only reason a person would not put out missing person flyers is because they know their family member is already dead. But and I get that. But even then, wouldn't they? Don't they want the body? Don't they want the body? I mean, yeah, you're putting all these little poster boards up, but people ain't looking at those poster boards, you know? You need like bumper stickers and missing person signs everywhere. It might jog somebody's memory. They need to be in Spanish. They need to be placed over in Mexico or along the border. Like, nobody has really done anything to search. I mean, yesterday we were talking about how nobody's searching for Nancy. Nobody with authority is physically searching for this poor lady, including her own blessed family. Everybody's just sitting on their hands waiting for something to break. Like, I never knew we just sit around and wait for things to break. Usually we rattle trees, we get things moving, we try to promote things breaking all on their own. Why? Oh, this is pushing up. Okay, sorry. I must have did something. There's too much wrinkles in my green screen. I can see them behind me. Oh, shit. Too many wrinkles. What the hell's going on here? Looks like my green screen was moved. I must have hit my green screen. I got some wrinkles in my green screen I don't like. Is that better? Okay, there it goes. There it goes. Get the wrinkles out of my green screen. I don't like shadows. I don't like shadows. Sometimes we get it because I don't put my green screen up right. I get it up so it works. Couldn't have worked a public job. I couldn't have worked a public. I don't think there's a lot of people. But I can tell you right now that, you know, I'm in the business of being here every day, maybe not to the level of Savannah Guthrie. I guess we could aspire to be the level of Savannah Guthrie one day. But at the end of the day, you know, when it comes to my family, I'm going to use every available resource I have. If I had the money like she had, you bet your ass I would be building my own team. You bet your ass I would never just sit back and let the FBI or the law enforcement. I would want, you know, step by step of what's going on. And I would want my own information that's unobscured by anybody else, by my own team, if I had the money. If I didn't have the money, I definitely would be using my platform to advocate for my lost family member. Whatever it means, even if it's just a video a day, reminding people, or a video a week, reminding people that I have my missing mom, reminding people that I have a missing family member, just reminding people that I have something missing. What about Bill Garcia? I'm not really a Bill Garcia, because he was part of Ashley Buzzard and Melody Buzzard, and he was so off base in that case. And to me, you know, I didn't hear some of his statements, but I heard some of his I heard other people talking about his statements, you know, looking at that Zachary guy. And we knew months ago, we did a show here months ago going through some of the statements that Zach had made through Messenger about how he was in Jordan, the country Jordan, which is over by Israel. So he's not even on this, what do they call it? This section of this landmass. I don't know what they call our land. I can't, my brain is not thinking. I'm not smarter than a fifth grader when I'm on live. So, but it's not even on our land here. It's all the way on the other side of the world where he was. And he's been there since 2019. He went over there right before COVID hit everybody, and he was never able to come back over, and now he's kind of stuck over in Jordan because we have a new administration. He can't get back over here. So he's stuck in Jordan, okay? And it sounds like he's been there since 2019, okay? 2019. He's been there 7 years. So I think that White Tiger, you're on to my idea. What is White Tiger saying? Let's see what White Tiger has to say. Sometimes I don't really catch all of these, I don't even see it. There it is. I actually think it's possible Savannah is in possession of Nancy's cremated ashes. I don't think it's gone that far, because if they found her, then they would close the case. I think they want this case closed. If they can close this case, they're going to want to close this case because they want us out, right? So if they did find her, they would want us out. Now, my problem is that it to me feels like I feel like there's something nobody's telling us. Like there was some type of problem that nobody's expressing happened or giving a whole lot of weight to it, but should. We just had a bunch of holidays, right? Let's talk about that. We had a major electrical problem that happened over at Miss Guthrie's house, Nancy's home, back in September. I believe it was September 25th. She woke up and all of her power was out. She had no power in her house. She calls the electrician. I'm sure she called the power company first, and the power company's like, well, we look like we got, service to your unit. We got it to the box. And she's like, well, the house is dark. You're going to have to call an electrician, right? So she calls an electrician out there. The electrician comes out there, realizes she's got a fried panel box, and she needs a service change. So the service changes are very extensive, okay? If you guys know, I'm sure, I don't know how many people are in a house versus an apartment, but most of you guys probably know where your panel box is, right? If a breaker, flipped and your lights were on, you probably know where to go to check the breakers and flip that breaker back on. Well, in apartments, your box might be just, ever so slightly because you're in a like 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom apartment. Well, in a house, especially a 3,000 square foot home and a guest house, right? Now you're looking at a huge panel box. You're looking at a panel box that's, 2 to 4 feet, depending on how much stuff you have. You might be able to get. But it sounds like she was on a 200 amp service, and that's what they were replacing it, or 400 amp service. I can't remember if it was 200 or 400. But either way, they needed to change out that whole panel box. You're talking about extensive electrical repair, something that cost thousands of dollars, probably close to $10,000 maybe or more. The service changes I have were not of that. And they were so many years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago when I was working with my dad. So, we would do a house service change for $4,500. But again, that was 20, 30, 40 years ago. You fast forward, that right there is probably now $7,500, $10,000, maybe even $12,000 for a service change. And then they go up from there. So you're talking about expensive stuff. People that are homeowners or have had to pay for service changes before realize how uncomfortable something like that is. And yeah, Savannah can pay for it. And they did, but that brought people to the house that weren't there normally. So if you look at her house has normal people that come there, service contractors like the landscaping crew, the pool crew, the people that probably clean her house, the people that, probably have a contract to come once or twice a year to pressure clean her home, just maintenance of the home, good maintenance of the home. These are people, 200 amp, thank you. These are people that, are coming into the house and regularly servicing her. So she sees these people, usually the same person each week or every other week to maintain her home. But there's one thing that's out of place. Back in September, she had this service change, this electrical service change. Now, depending on who did it, like, for example, my father ran his electrical company. He was the master electrician. He was, outside of him having an employee here or there or me working with him, it was just him by himself. So if he had to do a service change on your home, he would be the one performing that service change. He wouldn't have employees. But there are a lot bigger outfits out there now, and so they have employees, and those employees are the ones that are doing those electrical service change. They're either journeymen or licensed electricians that are out there assisting in the service change. And so the owner of that company is not out there. You had a sales guy that came out to your house that evaluated the situation, that was knowledgeable in electrical stuff. He gave you an estimate. Then you have their electricians that come out there. They usually come out 1, 2, or 3 to help with the electrical change. And copper's very expensive this day and age. But you could potentially have 3 employees. Now these are employees. Granted, they're licensed, but they're working under the owner. So you're dealing with elite people, and then there's dealing servicemen at your house. Now, those servicemen, you don't know what their background is, right? We don't know if that company does great background checks or not, or if they're just trying to staff their electrical company with the cheapest labor and knowledgeable labor as possible. And if that's the case, well, some people come in under the radar that has criminal conduct or criminal activity or some other things. There's also other people that have never been caught for the crimes that they committed. Now, I'm not saying that this electrical company had anybody there that harmed Miss Nancy Guthrie. I'm just simply saying that these are people that were introduced to her house that don't normally come to her house. That's all I'm saying. Now we fast forward. We had a lot of family events there shortly after September, did we not? We have Halloween. You know, a lot of people in the neighborhood, if they have young children, may have participated in Halloween, which may have brought different types of people into that community if they thought maybe they had better candy. Plus, we had, you know, Thanksgiving came after that. That's a family holiday. Did she have family? Who did she hang out with for Thanksgiving? And was there anybody introduced during Thanksgiving that she hadn't seen in a while, that maybe it was a distant relative or a distant relative for one of her friends that may have started, you know, putting their eyes on Miss Guthrie to maybe rob her? We don't know. And then, of course, comes Christmas. We had her with Savannah Guthrie. Hopefully, her and Savannah were able to spend some time with each other on Christmas holiday. And were there any other family that came? Any other distant family that came in to celebrate the holidays with them? Anybody that was down on their luck? You know, where's there other people that they haven't seen in a while? Hey, good morning, Seth. Good morning. That they hadn't seen in a while that came, you know, to the house, or that they were around, or that they had ran into, that might have had a vengeance or a grudge against the family that may have, you know, metastasized, right? We don't know. Is there, we would like to know. So is there something of that angle? If not, then what do we have? We have the people that lived around her, the people that came there, like we had some construction crews. We had some construction going up at that one road. We had construction going down on the other side of the road. We had a vacant house on the other side of her. So on three different sides of her, we had either construction or vacancies. So there is some area here to have some people that would have only ran into her by crossing her path, not necessarily knowing her. Could they have identified her? Or maybe they didn't even realize this lady had any affiliation with Savannah and she was just a target. Somebody heard that she no longer has her yappy dog anymore and she's a target. We heard that she had just recently lost her dog. That was not true. It sounds like she lost her dog several years ago, and she has chosen not to have another dog at the house. So that's kind of what happened with that. Today, my Google feed says Savannah has been absent from the Today Show all week. She has. She's been at, I think she's been on the voice panel, but I think that this is covert. I think she wanted to get closer to Pima County, potentially. And if so, this is going to be interesting because what does she know? What is she trying to decoy us for? And is there any break in the case that they don't want us to know about? Obviously, those are the major issues of why she leaves. Every time she leaves and we find out about it after a few days, we hear breaking news, but she's been gone for several days. So if she's at the recording studio for voice, would that consume several days worth? Possibly. We don't know what she's doing there. And again, it could be a decoy because Los Angeles is very close to Pima County. You can get to Pima County fairly quickly on, different avenues. Once you get to Los Angeles, you have different options getting over to Pima County. So could this be, again, a decoy? She's going here and she's on they're using all of their newsworthy power to create situations so it doesn't look so obvious that Savannah's taking time off work to deal with her mom. Is that a possibility? I believe it's a good possibility, especially if things are breaking in the case. They don't want because everybody knows that if Savannah's missing from the Today Show, something's going on. And so they have to create excuses for why she's missing. Is this just another excuse? That's all I'm trying. Hubby died in the last mine, which has been sus to me all along. Some people have expressed their concern about the mine death, and what happened there. I'm not going to rehash that because it was before my time in true crime. I don't know if we're going to ever be able to know. I mean, everything that we know, it seems like it was an accident, natural type thing. But if there's any type of, conspiracy related to it, or, some people have some type of conspiracy related to it, or conspiracy theories related to it, we would never be able to get to the bottom of them. So if people have those theories, they're always going to have those theories, because there's no way to, at this point, to support or decline those notions. She lost. No, that's not true. I thought that too. I talked to Jennifer Coffindaffer and got a good timeline. The dog didn't just happen last December. That was a misconception. We ran with that for a really long time on this show, Bigfoot. And then we did some due diligence. I asked some questions. I got the right timeline for the dog. Her dog died several years ago. Any dog that she would have had or taken pictures with would have been Savannah's dog. So just to make the mining claims are public, but we're never going, based on the mining claims, it's showing that that he died of an accidental, natural type of cause. So you're right. The claims are public, but there's no way to know whether. I guess you're misunderstanding what I'm saying about it, because there's no way for us to determine whether there was foul play at this juncture is what I guess I'm trying to. The people that have concerns about the mining claims are always going to. There's no way to dispute them, either for or against, is what I'm trying to express. Suddenly mines are back. Well, that might be something too. Have they checked the mines around there to make sure she's not hidden in any of them? Especially if it's somebody that may have known the family, may have known this, may have, top of mind and stuff, Wow, she should have gotten a new one. Heart attack. I think she did die from a heart attack. Thank you, Betty, for clearing up the doggy death date. Yeah. Personally, I don't trust Jay Coffin. Well, I get that. But she does have, you got to remember, she does have some affiliation with the researchers at News Nation because of her position as a correspondent or some type of expert with them. So she is able to tap into some sources that I don't have the luxury of tapping into. So sometimes it's a real, when I do have an opportunity to kind of, she was adamant that the dog did not die in December. I was pressing that because that's what I had heard. That's all the information I had heard. And then I got with her and she started breaking down the timeline, and then it did match. I can't remember where I did confirm it. I think there was some type of commentary potentially for somebody who wants to sleuth it. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I saw something about the death of the dog somewhere, and it was on some type of social media post. I don't know where it was. So I think that it is discoverable, but I do believe that Jennifer Coffindaffer is accurate about the dog. Because even when the guy neighbor, Jamie, I think is what his name was, potentially, even he had said that she was active until she lost the dog. And if you go back and listen to him, it seems like a while ago. It didn't seem like something recent. So if you go back and listen to it, you'll see the way he says it. It could go either way, albeit, but if you really listen to everything, the way he says it, it does kind of imply a while ago, if you asked me, not something recent. So again, just you'll have to go back and review it for yourself, make determination for yourself. But for me, that's the way it seems. Betty, Nancy is living with Jeffrey Epstein on his island after Hillary. I don't think she was living with him. I don't think that lady, no. I just don't believe those rumors. I really just don't. Open-minded. I don't. I think they are rumors. If you can find me something concrete, I'll entertain it. I mean, I really will. I will entertain it. I think those of us that lost emojis for a while are probably being watched. No minds have been searched. That's a problem. That's a problem for me. I think the minds need to be searched. Oh, yacht clubbing. Thank you, my love. Welcome. I would say welcome to this. You're part of the family. You've been part of the family for forever. So welcome back to this crazy family. I know we're addictive. We're addictive. Welcome back to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club. The insane asylum. Grab your straitjacket and your padded room and welcome aboard to the my love machine. Okay, now that we know I'm dangerous. I'm dangerous. I'm a security threat. Yeah, yeah. Hey, yours are back. Cool. So we got some emojis, and maybe it was something maybe it was a glitchy thing. The dog was far right and has a swastika tattoo. Stop, Dave. Don't be bringing the doggies into the fight. Don't be bringing the doggies into the fight. They did nothing. Our animals are sweet. Our animals are sweet. Okay? Don't be bringing the dog. That's almost anti-Christ-like. Don't be bringing the dog. That's just not even right. They can't even defend themselves. They can't. There's too much love and hope for Nancy to be fair. There is. And I hate being so nasty to the family. I do. It makes me feel bad. It makes my heart feel gunky. I won't lie to you. I don't like being mean to people. I do it good. I mean, I know I do it good. I don't like being mean to people. I really don't. I don't like being nasty. I don't like the drama. I don't like any of it. I like to know that when people get hurt, they come home, the bad guy goes to jail, the good people get to be laid to rest, and things, overcoming some things, But I don't like feeling like the family isn't doing enough. I don't like that feeling. I don't like calling that type of behavior out. But this family they've been so blessed with resources that we could only dream of having, that I would love to deploy on literally every single case that we have. If we just had the money, we could do this, or if we had the money, we could do that. This is a family that has it like that. And it's like we're just hopeful that they do something, because let's face it, we can't afford to do what they can afford to do. We can be here to help implement it, to help facilitate it, to move the needle along, but there's no way we could do the types of stuff that the Savannah Guthrie family could do. Yet, day after day, week after week, we are just, we're sitting here. I guess we feel because we've taken ownership of Miss Guthrie, Nancy Guthrie. We've taken ownership of her as being our own mother, our own grandmother, whatever. And it just really hurts our heart to know that her family has been so blessed all of these years. And when push comes to shove, there's nothing that they are willing to do or can do. It is what it is. And no, the dog didn't die. I have it on good accord with good information until the dog died years prior to. The way I remember it, they were eating cats and dogs in Springfield, Ohio. Yeah, well. We heard that the dog was a victim of cancer and had died several years prior to that of cancer, an aggressive cancer. She donated $500. That doesn't move, and again, that's a feel-good thing. And she had $500,000 to giving to the missing children, missing and endangered children. She had $500,000 to look for her mother. So what's the purpose of? Listen, I'm sorry, but why is she giving a non-profit organization that she's going to get a tax benefit back of $500,000, but not one thing to help look for her mother? I can't. Every time I hear more, I get more and more frustrated and enraged with the Guthrie family. So I just don't even want to hear what the hell they're doing, because they ain't doing shit. And again, if she has $500,000 to give to a nonprofit, again, where she gets a tax benefit from, a tax benefit to give it to a nonprofit. So she's willing to give a nonprofit $500,000 for a tax benefit, but she's not willing to give $500,000 to people that can help her find her mother? I don't know. That makes me even more angry. It really does. It frustrates me even more. Oh my God, no Epstein files. My emojis are back. Okay, so everybody's got their... So emojis, just to let you know, your emojis must have went down at some point today. Don't know why they would have went down, but it looks like the emoji system did go down, but it looks like everybody's got their emojis back up. So I'm sorry, I did not know, because I don't use emojis that much, because I can't type. I'm usually talking. So how many of us in chat were able to buy the golden sneakers? Huh? We have golden sneakers in chat? I've never seen golden sneakers. Interesting. I'm getting mom's old nurse, and I get to go home with her. Mom's home. Oh, heck yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah, Savannah hasn't done nothing except 5 interviews that I can find. Yeah, I mean, there's just... then it was up to 1 million, not a million. Yeah, and we do have $1.2 million to bring Miss Guthrie home, but clearly that has not moved the needle. Again, it's feel-good stuff, but it's not actual money out of her pocket trying to find her mother. And even if she did put $500,000 to this nonprofit, she did it for a tax write-off. I mean, that, which enrages me even more. You're willing to throw $500,000 away on your mom if it's a tax write-off? I mean, I'm sorry. I don't even want to get down this road, because it's just going to frustrate me. As you guys can see, I am fairly frustrated about the whole thing. And then, of course, we're going to end up leaving this with Jennifer Coffindaffer. This is related to some of the stuff going on in Arizona, but there's been an angle that has been brought up here recently. She hired her own team for 5. We just reported. Brian Enton has confirmed that is not true. And that's what I was saying, is that we all believe that, and now that we know that that's not true, it even makes her and her family look even worse. We just found out that wasn't true. Well, we knew about it like a couple weeks ago, but we just did a report from Brian Enton that just, basically clarified that just in this report that we just did. So now we're on Jennifer Coffindaffer. Now this is related to something that's been brought up recently. Everybody has, because the independent journalists out there in Pima County in front of Nancy Guthrie's house were lied about. They said that they were doing things that they were not doing in an effort to remove them from the property, and that was conspired by some of the people in that community that didn't want them there. So they most likely lied under oath, right? They lied and falsely proclaimed things that did not happen in an effort to drive these journalists out. That's illegal as hell. Moreover, there was people like Nerdy Attic, at least Nerdy Attic made claim to it on social media, that he was calling the Pima County Sheriff's Office and reporting false claims against these guys and changing his area code each and every time that he called so they couldn't track his number. Those were statements he made on his channel, on one of his social media, I believe it might have been X or Facebook. And so those were captured and logged of him stating that. Well, that, in my opinion, is a federal crime. You cannot be using phone systems to call and report lies about criminal conduct on a police phone. That's creating hysteria, right? You're going in there. There's an the actual proper language for what that means, but he's basically filing a false report on somebody, and they're using that false report to arrest people now. So these people are being arrested on false allegations that are well known and well established as false, and to drive them out of this community. And many people are asking, why are they doing that? Are they doing it because of this drug organization, this cartel type of thing going on in the community? Is it possible that they have cartel? Is there a drug running scheme going through this neighborhood? Many people believe there is. Well, Jennifer Coffin-Daffer does address this, so let's listen to it. I don't know if I have it directly on the right spot, but we're leading up to it.
Anyway, the reason this has nexus is because it's Mexico. That's what they say. She's in Mexico. She was taken to Mexico, to Sinaloa. They're very specific. And, I think this lends itself to why a lot of people believe this is cartel. Recently, some of the folks who've been out there, the streamers who have been out there, who again, I actually, I'm a Libra. What can I say? I take everything in. I have to weigh it all. And on one side, I see that it is good to keep Nancy Guthrie's name out there, the ideas about her out there. The fact that people are still monitoring, I guess, the neighborhood. There's, I said this a long time ago, that's not where you're going to find the perpetrator in the neighborhood. But nevertheless, it's about keeping her name out there. I've talked about other cases like Sebastian Rogers, Caleb Harris, recent anniversary of Summer Wells, that just, I know people don't like it when I say they're all but forgotten, but they are. There are not active investigations, and I could show you information.
And I understand why people get upset about that. I had a few people reach out to me. I can't believe Jennifer said this, and I'm like, well, in all fairness, she's kind of right. I mean, I don't think she's saying we don't care. It's just they're not being focused on like they once were, and I think that's a huge problem. They have their shelf life. All these stories, even Nancy Guthrie, has their shelf life before we get to a wall where there's nothing more to say except regurgitating and repeating the same stuff we've already said 1,000 times. And it gets to the point where we end up becoming parrots, and it's like, I can't be a parrot. We got to move on. We got to find another case to cover until we get some more information. And something like that, like even Lily and Jack Sullivan, they hit their shelf life, right? And then we started backing off them. Now we have some stuff going on in their case with Daniel Martel that we need to be updated on, and we're sucked away over here with the Nancy Guthrie case, never ever updating on the Lily and Jack Sullivan case or Daniel Martel, which reminds me, we're going to be having some Daniel Martel updates coming this week or in the next week. So this is kind of what happens, and you got to really be on top of this stuff. But at the end of the day, this is where we are in the Nancy Guthrie case. Is there drugs, drug cartel, drug running, type of things going on in this community? Is that why everybody just wants us out? Are we putting a crimp in the drug distribution network in Pima County?
To show you they are not active. They're cold cases, absolutely cold cases. They're hoping something comes in, and if something comes in, they'll take a look at it. That's a big difference between having a crew.
Cold cases sometimes go cold. It's just the name of the game. It does happen. But the ones that are going cold right now, for the reasons that it's bad policing. It's them not doing the job perfectly. It's them not dotting the I's and crossing the T's while telling us they're dotting the I's and crossing the T's. For example, the forensics in Sebastian Rogers' case, the fact that they allowed the family to stay inside the house during the investigation, contaminating the investigation when the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children is very, very clear in their packet, close the house down as a crime scene. There should have been 2 crime scenes that were had when Sebastian disappeared. The crime scene at his mom's house and the crime scene at his dad's house. Because when you have a missing child like Sebastian, their assessment, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children's assessment, is that you should lock the houses down as if they were murdered there. That is what their protocol is with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. They didn't do that for Summer Wells. They didn't do that for Sebastian Rogers, but you know where they did that at? They did that here in Manatee, or excuse me, in Osceola County when Madeline Soto was deceased, when she got murdered by her stepfather, when they didn't know what happened to her. They were reported almost to the minute together because there's an hour difference between Hendersonville and Orange County, Osceola County. An hour difference, okay? Hendersonville is in Central Time, Osceola, Orange County, Eastern Time. Osceola County, Madeline Soto was reported at around 7:30. Sebastian Rogers was reported 6:30. You guys get it? They were reported at almost the exact same time. One was in Florida, one was in Tennessee. The one in Florida was solved almost in 3 days. The one in Tennessee still needs to be solved. The difference is they turned her house into a crime scene. They forensically tested her house. They knew that this man was doing the things that he was doing to that child. They had evidence of that, and they were able to make an arrest and find out what happened to her. They've never done that in Sebastian Rogers' case from everything that I can see. They failed the investigation. They did not do the forensics when they were supposed to do the forensics. They fouled up this case. They turned that house, let that house be a gathering for the family instead of a freaking crime scene. They John Benet Ramsey'd that whole damn investigation up when it came to that house. 30 years later, we've learned so much since John Benet Ramsey, but we have stupid idiots, incompetent, uneducated sheriffs that are elected because they're elected because of a popularity contest instead of who can get the job done contest. And that's how we get ourselves into having a sheriff snuggle struggles and a sheriff no-nads. Exactly how we get those. They didn't know what the hell they were doing in the case. They screwed up the initial investigation, and therefore we're here all this time later. If they would have done it correctly, I'm pretty sure Mommy Dearest would have been in handcuffs and put in jail. I can tell you this, if Chris and Katie were here in Florida and not in that great state of Tennessee that loves to see children perish at the hands of their parents as long as they hide them well, they don't have to look at them or run those cases, that kind of Tennessee. If those two people were here in Florida, if they were living in Florida when Sebastian disappeared, Mom would be in jail right now. Stepdad would most likely be right behind her. If they were right here in the state of Florida when Sebastian disappeared. That's how important it is which state you live in. That is literally how important it is which state you live in. I have learned that the state of Tennessee is lethal for children. Anybody with a family, if you live in Tennessee, you will be failed if you need law enforcement or the Department of Children and Family Services. Your child is most likely to be deceased than ever to be healthy if you had to rely on your government in the state of Tennessee. They protect the predators, not the children. There's a lot of stuff I can say about Tennessee. I wanted to move there. I am so glad I did not fail myself and move to Tennessee. Tennessee is by far one of the more corrupted states I have ever been in. Literally backwoods corrupted. Backwoods corrupted. It is sad, and many people in the state of Tennessee don't even know. They don't even know. They think everything is just perfect. Hunky-dory.
Actively working case like what's happening in Nancy Guthrie's case. And part
we got
of
about
what
3 more
keeps
minutes.
that alive, part of it is the media involvement, social media influence, and keeping the name out there where there's still an active interest. And that puts pressure on law enforcement. That's just a fact. So when we talk about this case, I think it's really important to weigh both sides, the streamers, YouTubers, keeping her out there, and also their ability.
I don't listen to both sides. I listen to the law. I look at the law. I don't listen to people talking. I've learned a long time ago that I don't listen to people. People have emotions. People have feelings. They feel something is wrong and therefore it is wrong. I don't go for feelings. I don't care about when somebody's missing or dead. I don't care about I don't worry myself with the people that are living and breathing, okay? If they're living and breathing, if they bitch, that's okay. You can bitch down the road. Don't bitch here in my ear. Go down the road and bitch. At least you have the ability to bitch. The lady that I'm sitting here trying to work for right now doesn't have that ability. So you can move your little happy ass on down there and complain down there, but you ain't going to complain in my ear. It is not about people's feelings. It's not about Jennifer's feelings. Jennifer being an FBI agent, and again, our law enforcement having to uphold our Constitution. They're not out here having to uphold people's feelings, okay? They've never put their hand on a Bible and said, I'm here to uphold the everybody's feelings and their right to feel however they want to feel. No, you put your hands on the Bible and you say you uphold the constitutions and the law of this great nation, okay? So, I am not here with everybody's feelings. I don't care how that community feels. I don't care if they feel I'm intrusive. I don't care if they think that this shouldn't still be going on. I don't care. If I want to be there, and I personally feel that there is a need for me to be there, I don't care what people's feelings are about me being there, because they don't control me. Okay? Nobody's feelings or emotions control me. I control myself. I either follow the law or I don't. But if I'm following the law and you put your hands on me, you're going to have a lot of problems. Okay? The people that were out there, whether I agree with their speech or not, had a right to be there and had a right to speak in those areas. Why? Because we, the people, own them. I do not protect the people. I protect the umbrella. And we need more people protecting the umbrella instead of people's freaking emotions and feelings. Because emotions and feelings, the last time I checked, are not part of our laws of any government. So we've got to check the people that are speaking out about this, because it's not about people's feelings. I don't care about people's feelings. Law enforcement doesn't care about people's feelings. They care about the law. They care about the law. Now, people are going to always try to bring up our privacy rights. You have privacy on your land, not on public spaces. It has been well established in this country for 250 years that you do not have a right of privacy on public spaces. Okay? So every time you drive on a road, a public road, yes, I can record you. I could drive next to you with my camera out my window and violate all types of your internal privacy inside that car driving down a public road. I have every right to do that. How intrusive? It's pretty intrusive. Does somebody feel uncomfortable if I had a camera driving down the road in their car for no reason? I'm sure I probably would feel uncomfortable. I would feel uncomfortable. But does it stop them from being able to do it? No, it doesn't. The only thing that's required to have is the fact that you have to have a legitimate purpose for doing it, right? There are legitimate purpose elements that do need, because there is a thin line between journalism and other crimes, and that the only thing is the intent. If you have a legitimate purpose, if there's no legitimate purpose, well, then you're cooked, right? These guys here had a legitimate purpose. They're pointing their cameras at a crime scene. They're in a public space. They're speaking into their camera. It doesn't matter what they say. They could be saying, I'm so glad that Nancy Guthrie did get ripped out of her bed. They could say that. They could say disgusting, deplorable things that turn our stomach, that we don't want to listen to. And you know what? It's our choice to move past it. It's our choice to scroll up. It's our choice not to engage in that conversation or be a part of that conversation. But it doesn't mean they don't have a right to have that conversation. Just because we don't like it, just because we think it's inappropriate, doesn't matter what we think. This is America. They have a right to say whatever the hell they want to say. However, we are restricted. They can't go into a movie theater and scream fire or bomb, right? But they can absolutely speak into their camera and say some of the most despicable, deplorable things that they want to do, and they still have a right to do it. And that's the problem. Everybody believes in the Constitution when it's about the stuff they want to hear. It's the stuff that they oppose is when they want to start trampling on other people's rights. And it's the speech that you hate the most that you should be protecting the most. Because there's going to be a time when you speak and people are going to hate what you say, but you should be able to say that. That's what our Constitution allows us to do. We don't have to say what people want us to say, and we don't even have to say, we could say the most despicable, vile crap in the whole world. Look at Howard Stern. Howard Stern was able to, I mean, he was disgusting. He was a disgusting pig when I was growing up. He was an absolute disgusting pig. But he had a right to say whatever the hell he wanted to say. And you know what? I never watched Howard Stern. Why? Because he was a disgusting pig. That was my choice. But you hurt Nano's feelings, you might physically get hurt. I believe that. I believe that. Be careful with that flashlight. Be careful with that flashlight. I'm just saying. Might jump out of his holster and whack you upside the head and send you to ICU. So, all right, we got like 3 more minutes. Let me move this along. Let me get to where we need to be. Okay, so we're there. Let's go back just a little bit, maybe 30 seconds. There we go.
People have raised a lot of money for the people who were taken into custody, and I'm just kind of watching that to see how it fares out. Why is that important for this discussion?
I'm going to tell you how it fares out. If they got a corrupt DA and judge, they're going to have to appeal this whole matter to an appellate court. But no matter how you look at it, they have a right to do whatever the hell they want to on public property. How can you trespass public property? The people out there were lying about what these guys were doing. It's all recorded. It's all on record. People were calling in saying he was pissing in the street. He was standing in the middle of the street. He was stopping traffic in the middle of the street. These were some of the allegations being called in. Those were crimes that he was not doing. And they had a duty to make sure that he was actually doing those crimes before they put handcuffs on him. They didn't care about whether he was doing them or not. They violated his rights over lies. Over lies that they could have easily checked right then and there to confirm one way or the other who was lying and who was telling the truth. They had literally digital evidence right there before them that they chose not to look at and disregarded just to throw them in jail. That's malicious. That's malicious.
On whether Mexican cartels had some hand in this. Well, it's important because part of the sort of idea here with this cartel case, or at least tangential cartel being involved, is that, well, they could be running drugs from people in the neighborhood, right? That they might have prescription drug, Oxycontin, blah, blah, blah. You can probably tell by my general demeanor here, I think that is all, quite frankly, rubbish. I don't think that these neighbors are selling drugs, are mixed in any way with the...
I will be honest with you, I'm not buying that stuff either. I mean, these are a bunch of Karens out there that are running down to their driveway to take a picture of a car driving by. Okay, I don't think they're the grand lady on the corner slinging some dope. Okay, I'm sorry, I just don't see these people. They got sticks up their ass. They are, some of them are pretty much jerks, but drug dealers, nah, I don't think so.
The cartel, it's almost comical. It really is, because they're not. They just don't want. They just don't want.
Say it, Jennifer.
Their streets inhibited. They're tired of seeing them out there.
It doesn't matter. I want to be very clear. I don't care if the fucking neighbors don't like anybody out there. It's not their choice. They don't own the roads. They don't own the public spaces. When is somebody from law enforcement going to stand up and tell these a-holes, you don't own this? You own this. This is your area. This is everybody's area. You can't control who puts their feet here. You can't control who records from here. You can't control these areas. These areas are for everyone. Even when you put up that gate, if somebody wants to come back here and use these public areas, they are allowed to. They're owned by the public. We can't prevent them from coming here. How about just telling them the truth? How about that? instead of telling them that your emotions trump the law.
And I understand. I've never had anything like that happen, but I'm sure it is.
I have.
I'm sure it is difficult to see people.
I have. I've been out there for weeks in front of people's houses, and you know what? We're lawfully able to be there. Okay? That's what I know. I know for a fact that when I'm covering a case, I'm lawfully allowed to be there. I'm lawfully allowed to be there. I'm lawfully allowed to be there, and it doesn't really matter if the neighbors like me or not. It doesn't matter whether they like my commentary or not. It doesn't matter. How do I know? Well, I've done enough legal research. I'm fighting against a county right now. I'm very, very, very well versed on what my rights here in this country are. And I do a lot of pro se cases that I can show that I know what the hell the law says. One thing I don't do is I don't dick around with law enforcement that think that their community's feelings trump my rights. They do not. They do not. And it really, really, I'm going to tell you something that bothers me more than just about anything. It's when law enforcement doesn't understand that. That's what pisses me off. That is what pisses me off. Is that we have law enforcement here saying, oh, I protect the Constitution. Okay, well, the First Amendment of the Constitution can't be any clearer. Yet it's always law enforcement that is violating it. So explain to me how we haven't learned anything in 250 years. How is it so difficult to understand private people don't own public roadways and don't own public easements? How is it so difficult to understand that the public has a right to be in those areas and the public has a right to record, as uncomfortable as it is? If you don't want them to record in your car, don't roll your window down. If you don't want them recording in your home, close your blessed blinds. But saying that they can't be there or they're going to jail for being in an area that's designed for them is bullshit. And what's more bullshit is that law enforcement doesn't understand that. Yet they're the ones that are supposed to be enforcing the damn law. So again, I don't care about the fucking neighbors. Their neighbors' feelings don't trump my rights. They never will. And I can guarantee you the Supreme Court will uphold that.
Out there, and you can consider them a nuisance. Nevertheless, they're cracking down. But I think part of the reason that they are cracking down, meaning law enforcement in that area, is because it has absolutely gone wild.
There's 3 people there. How is the hell has it gone wild? It was wild there the first few weeks of this story. It has died down significant. What is she talking? I can't. Okay, I'm going to get off of this. Anyways, is it a cartel? No, it's not a cartel. I'm getting off of this. I'm going to end up going off on Miss, and she's my friend and everything like that. This makes no sense to me. I don't care about anybody's fucking feelings. Let me just be very clear on the record. Their feelings don't trump my rights, okay? Their feelings don't trump my rights. And I want my law enforcement partners on this platform to understand we have rights. And you guys held badges and guns to enforce those rights, yet y'all don't even know the law? You need the Supreme Court to keep telling you over and 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 over again that we have these rights. We need the Supreme Court to keep reminding the whole blessed world that we have these rights. I'm getting sick and tired of it. I'm tired. Those guys had a right to be out there. They had a right to record. Their government can't tell them how to speak. Their government can't tell them what to say on their screens. Their government has no authority to do that. And they definitely did not have any authority to go out there and touch them or put them in handcuffs. None. They were trolled. They allowed people to call in things that were not happening, and those guys were arrested for things that were not happening. It's going to be hard to prove that they were standing in the middle of the road when they weren't standing in the middle of the road. Juice got hollered. That's none of their damn business. They wouldn't have known what to do if Bullhorn Betty was out there. I will tell you that because I do push back. I usually have the laws in my pocket to hand out to them because I know that law enforcement across this country is ignorant. I know they're ignorant. Why? Because I deal with them every day, and clearly in 250 years of the United States being here, none of them understand what the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution truly means or stands for. Hopefully, maybe the 100th and millionth time of them saying, hey, we're entitled to public spaces. Hey, nobody's entitled to privacy in public spaces. Maybe, just maybe, somebody in this blessed world would get a clue and start telling their public, we can't do nothing about it. Because that's what they need to start telling them. There's nothing you can do about it because why? There's nothing you can do about it. That's it. There's nothing. Now, all of this money that's going to be spent is going to be spent and pissed away. Why? Because we know what the outcome's going to be. Were they entitled to do that? Yes. Did they do what was being called in? No. Who fucked up? Law enforcement. Who's going to pay for it? The taxpayers. Case closed. Okay? That's how this whole thing's going to go. And you know what I didn't say this whole time that I've been here? Is how somebody might feel about that. Because somebody's feelings doesn't trump my rights. It doesn't trump TUCSON. It doesn't trump CHUS. And it doesn't trump criminals. Their rights were violated. Period. At the end of the day, their rights are violated. Who did it? Pima County. And they intentionally, maliciously did it. They intentionally and maliciously did it. Because their neighbors had feelings. I'm sick and tired of that. We need to start criminally charging sheriffs and police departments that intentionally and willfully violate people's civil rights in an effort to create a legal quagmire that must be defended in order for somebody to stay in a particular space, a space that has been designated public. This right here is so corrupted, it is so bad, and we got an FBI agent saying, oh, but the neighbor's feelings. An FBI agent saying about feelings. It ain't about feelings. Tell me what feelings you go and arrest people on, or have arrested people on, because the FBI doesn't arrest people on feelings. They arrest people in the black and white. What did they violate in the law? That's what people should be arrested on. I don't give a shit. Let me repeat this for everybody out there. I don't give a shit about the feelings of the Catalina Foothill residents. Their feelings don't trump my rights. And they didn't trump their rights either. He did. And he tried to intimidate me and shut me up about exposing the fact that he was all over online bragging about his criminal conduct. And then he wants to send me a cease and desist letter that's not even signed, that doesn't even meet any legal definitions, missing how to respond to him legitimately from his home address. He didn't put his home address there, and it wasn't signed. So as far as I'm concerned, it's illegitimate. It's illegitimate. So at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure he's going to realize that I don't play. And hopefully once he hears my real response to him, he'll get a clue. He probably shouldn't have rattled this tree. Just saying. Just saying. All right, guys, rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. And I just want to remind everybody that is watching, nobody's feelings trump your rights to live here in America under this great nation, under the great laws here. And yes, we pay for those public spaces to utilize. They have no rights. Our government does not control our rights to use the spaces we paid for. And to think that we still have an active document that says, hey, you can go and record in these public spaces. You can't limit how much public space I can use and how, when, and where. It doesn't matter. If it's public space, it's public space, and I'm allowed to camp out there, right? Not overnight. I'm not allowed to sleep there. I'm not allowed to live there. But I'm allowed to camp out there. I'm allowed to look at a vacant lot a vacant house that somebody was murdered in or somebody was ripped out of their bed in the middle of the night in. And I'm allowed to talk about that case, and I'm allowed to go through that case. And even if I wanted to say some disgusting things, what if I didn't like Miss Nancy Guthrie? What if I didn't like anybody in her family and I just wanted to rag them? I just wanted to drag them and take a bus and run over them and back that bus up and proverbially run that bus over them again. And I wanted to do it sitting in front of Nancy Guthrie's house. As despicable and disgusting as that would be, I'm entitled to do it. And I just want to make sure everybody understands I am entitled to do that. I'm entitled to act disgusting. I'm entitled to speak disgusting. I'm entitled not to have anybody believe in anything I say. It doesn't matter. As long as I'm doing it in a public space and doing it under the laws and correctly under the laws, they can't do anything about it. If I wanted to go there and be in a bathing suit and a bikini talking about it, as viling and disgusting as that would be for me to be dancing around in front of my camera, in front of her house, guess what? I have the right to do it. I have the right to be skimpy. I have the right to cover my body the way I want to cover it and expose the parts of my body I want to expose within the law. And I have a right to be there whether it makes the whole damn community uncomfortable. Okay? And if you don't like it, change the channel or drive on by. What you don't get to do is tell me where to stand, tell me what to say, or tell me I can't be there. That's what you don't get to do. And that's what they should never have done to those men that were out there covering this case that weren't doing anything wrong. Anyways, guys, that's the show for today. Please don't forget to hit that like button. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And if you still have some hypes left over for this week, give your girl Bets a hype, right? I come here, I fight against government entities that overstep their authority. I love people. I love my community. I love making things a little bit better for everybody, but more importantly, I love fighting back with bullshit, okay? This is the bullshit, and we are going to absolutely fight back against this stuff. Again, we protect the umbrella. We don't have to care about the speech. We don't even have to like the speech. We don't even have to agree with the speech. It's all about whether they are entitled to speak, and we all know they are. Are they entitled to be there? We all know they are. Were they lied on? We all know they were. Why? Because we looked, which is what law enforcement is supposed to do. Remember, they're the detectives, not us. Remember? They don't want us as armchair detectives. Yet why do we always keep doing better jobs than they? At least we know to go and look at somebody's lie before we put handcuffs on somebody, because people lie. I've never, ever known sheriffs to willfully, intentionally, unless they wanted to, have all the evidence in the world but fail to look at it in an effort just to put handcuffs on somebody. Well, that's what they did in Pima County, because every one of them were running live streams. Those live streams could be accessed in real time. They could have been rewounded. They could have seen it from every single angle and been able to determine that what was being called in was not happening out there on the streets. They didn't care. All they cared about was getting the people off the streets with whatever reason they had to get them off the streets. Well, now they have themselves a pickle, because they could have went there, they could have looked at it, they could have determined that what was being called in was a lie. They arrested these guys over lies. Lies that were proven before they ever even put the handcuffs on them. Chris Nanos, you are a criminal. Out of all three of those guys, you're the only one that deserves to be in jail. I'll tell you that. And that's coming from Bullhorn Betty. All right, guys, rock it out with your coffee beans out. We will see you on the flip side. Take care and God bless.